Previously on TrueFuture Israel.
There's a lot of good companies that fail, and people, all right, we're done. Let's do the next one.
How big can I think where it's almost ridiculous? And then I can come to Israel and think like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you later. I forgot I'm mic'd.
Exact, take one, Mark.
We are ending our Israeli journey, and I'm sitting with my dear friend Harel. I enjoy our relationship, the friendship especially. Also, the geek engineer in me, he gives me a peek behind the scenes on things that nobody else has seen before. And I think he does that to see the flicker in my eye. And two, he knows I've seen a lot of amazing technologies. So selfishly, he wants to gauge it against the other things I've seen. To be in the exact office after all the years I've worked together with you on the state side, but to be here in Israel is really special. And the timing's exact as well. You just had some recent news released.
Yes, very exciting. We just received our 510K clearance for the use of the exact system in percutaneous interventional procedure using CT. So it's really opening the market for us as we move forward.
Yeah. And what is the intention of the technology? And why it may be a disruptive technology to the marketplace?
A lot of radiologists, what they do, they put a tool, can be a needle, can be a probe, into the patient where you can go into a procedure and see a physician that will do it in 30 minutes versus an hour and a half. And that affects everything. It affects the patient, the radiation dose, but also the economical value for the hospital, because if now you extend the procedure time, it means you have less time for another patient. What we're doing, we're democratizing interventional procedure. We are the first ever robotic system that is hands-free. Exact is the first step ever in robotics, taking us to full autonomous surgery. It's really important for me to clarify to you when I'm saying it's not replacing the physician. It's enhancing their capabilities. We took away one of the two skills of a physician. Physician has intellect skills, what they know, what they see, and then the technical skills of what they do. And Exact is taking away the technical skills of knowing how to insert the needle and so on. What's so unique about us is the fact that we have a robot which is the size of an iPad, that the robot itself holds the instrument. The physician does not touch the instrument. So what the physician is doing, they are planning the trajectory and the entry point on the CT scan. And then once they confirm that, the robot itself is doing the insertion and the steering of the tool. It can continuously make corrections to the needle to ensure that you get to the right target. Another thing that it does, which is extremely important, is create consistency. What happens today, it's very common to see a physician put a needle in and out, because the minute you deviate from your trajectory, you had to correct it. With our system, we make corrections on the go. So we know how long it's going to take you from the time you start a procedure until you get a target. Consistency leads to efficiency, which leads to economical value, patient's outcome, and that's what Exact promises.
So typically in a current standard of care, that could be multiple shots on goal as the physician or the surgeon is trying to get that needle placement in there.
That's exactly what happened today. And while they do this, it takes more time, it takes more radiation, and radiation is both for the patient and the physician. The patient gets the radiation one time, but the physician is getting it all the time. And every time you retract the needle and reinsert it, you need to have more radiation because you need to have more imaging.
I think using the word hands-free and autonomous is a liability at times, because as inventors and as engineers and as pioneers of technology, we lose our beginner's mindset. And that is dangerous because the person who is going to have that hands-free autonomous robot deployed on them is hearing it oftentimes for the first time. But I do believe that it will become commonplace in the next 5 years. Any general thoughts you can share with us on commercialization?
Yeah, it's exciting, right? So our next step is to develop some robotic clinical center of excellence that will allow us to expand the usability of our system. An example is imaging modalities. So today, we are cleared to use it with CT, but our system designed to work with any imaging modalities, ultrasound, CT fluoroscopy, and then different procedures, different type of organs, so what we call indication and application. And that's our step toward commercialization. It's not about just selling the product, it's about building these partnerships with the sites that see the benefit in our systems.
Harel has always got something going on, and I don't mean that in a flippant way. I mean, he's got substantial things going on. As you move one out of the way and look at another, you continue to say, wow, that's got legs too. What's very obvious is that Israel can ideate technology and deliver it. No doubt about it. The question, though, is, can they take a technology and broadly commercialize it, especially in the United States? This culture has been a long-term commitment. Commitment to the past, commitment to the faith system, commitment to the family.
Yeah.
Yet, this race to build a company and sell it for billions of dollars. That seems to be the new thing to chase. And that can affect the culture, can it?
Absolutely.
Is Israel going to be a Silicon Valley of transactions, or where are we going from here?
You're pretty much touching the $1 billion question. Startup nations, you may even call it impatient nations. People want to get it done fast. And if it comes with a nice check along the way, great. It takes a different commitment, a different set of skills, and different efforts to build a company. I've seen too many entrepreneurs in Israel that are building companies for an exit. And I think this is the wrong approach, and I do not think that should be the future of Israel. Because when you build a company for an exit, if that exit doesn't happen during the time you expect it, then you don't have a company. That's not the way companies think about it in Israel. They think about the product and how much money I'm going to make out of it. We need to understand that we may need to learn them from the US that know how to better build corporations.
Is this where potentially we really pay attention to the relationship between the United States and Israel, similar to what you're doing? So we incubate it here, but then we put a foot in the US where we know what it is to manufacture, to build operations, commercial, and we learn how to coexist like you're doing in both cultures. Because that relationship, I think it's one of the strongest in the world, is the US with Israel and Israel with US.
You said the right word. It's not we start in Israel and then the US. It's gotta be end from day one. I think this is where Israel needs to go next.
You're clearly a very smart-driven guy, and you had many options, as a lot of Israelis do, pursuing many different industries. Why did you pick one of the most challenging, medtech?
I want to make my mom proud. Jewish moms believe there's only two jobs, doctor's lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a doctor.
And somebody else has said that, so you can say that.
And but that's, putting the joke aside, is I don't really have a good answer for you how I started. At the end of the day, you see the difference on what you do, not just for yourself, but when I hear about a friend's mother who saved an hysterectomy because of a device we have, how many people can say that? Not another app, not another Facebook, but another medical device. It's not what we do in life. It's what we leave behind us when we're gone. I'm a true believer in this. And if what I'm doing in the medical device can change generations' health to come, and my name will be attached to it or not, I don't really care. This is the space that I can go home and know that I did something which is more than just potentially my bank account. It can really change people's life. And there's nothing better in life than doing this.
When we started True Future a few seasons ago, I was pretty sure what it was going to be. People, places, tech. Each season has revealed another level that I had not expected. I don't know if I got what I came for coming to Israel because I didn't have a checklist or a shopping list. I came with an explorer's mindset. Israel is a culture that revels in adversity and accepts failure as long as you gave it everything you had.
There's a lot of good companies that fail, and people, all right, we're done. Let's do the next one.
They went after a problem that nobody else would dare take.
Out of those disruptive, risky ideas, the strong industry can come.
Yossi, don't lose the country.
If I walked away with anything, that was it in spades. Raising the bar on Israel is going to be difficult, but myself and the crew, we're up for it. I don't know where it is yet, but you'll be with me, and I'll see you there.